Hello everyone, welcome to my new video. Uh, in this video, we will be learning how to read the Firestore database, and we will learn what is Firestore database and all. First of all, like it's been a very long time since I uploaded the last video. My system was get corrupted one of the drive, so it took little time to figure out. So yeah, now the videos may be more frequent than earlier. So yeah, I appreciate for your patience. And so let's check the basic functionality where we left. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Okay, so here's the captcha check. For this, we have to make another video for like giving how to remove that captcha. So it's yeah, so it's fixed now. And what we can do, we can just remove this because this number, I guess, yeah, okay, we have to take it out because plus for plus 91 we have to check that it should be filled. And for the sign up, we will write some logic as when we log in, there should be like when we try to log in with the OTP or with mobile number, it should prompt if the user is not registered, else it will go to the home screen. So let's write the logic. So auth controller, here is the auth controller and the for auth and verify OTP. Below that we will create like the user has been created, but what we have to do, we have to check whether the user is registered or not. So first of all, we need to learn what is Cloud Firestore. So, Cloud Firestore is a NoSQL database or NoSQL database, as it stores the data in the format of, there's no format of storing data, as we know that NoSQL has no structure as compared to the SQL or SQLite or any structured DB. So for that, there's multiple type of NoSQL databases. First is that document and collection and document based, and the second is the key value pair, and third is the column oriented, and the fourth is we can say have a files, I guess. Yeah, for the files. So these are type of database, but like for MongoDB is collection document oriented, same as Cloud Firestore does. It is also a collection document based database. So what the limitation of that, and what's the means what's we can in have between key value and document oriented, what's the difference and what's the pros and cons. So for the key value pair, we have like nesting the data as a key and value. There is only like there's only uh, keys and the values. There's collection, there's nothing supposed to have a collection to identify like anything like a table. For example, if you see the real-time database, let it load. Okay, so if you see, if I want to create a database, uh, so let's start in test mode. You can have test mode, so you can perform read write operation. Later you can just write it down your own. Okay, so this is the, like we can say users, then add the key value and the databases. So we can have a key value type thing. Okay, let's delete that. Key users, and we can have object. So this kind of database will yeah uh, work as like if you have users, we have don't have value, then we this work as a table. And suppose that we have another UID, Then we can just have this as name, as test, and so on. So we can just, if we add this, you can have a hierarchy of data. So it become very very complex to query between this data, because we have to traverse all through the UID and all the stuff. And to overcome this, the to overcome this, the cloud collection and document based database came into existence. Because as we know, like, if you don't know, let me tell you, the Firestore is the next generation real time database system. So it's based on collection, so we have to give the collection, and we can just have ID and say name, and we can say test. So if you see the storage type, it's like a uh, that column and row based type. Uh, but what we can have a sub collection inside document. Collection cannot have collection. Document can have sub collection as well as fields. So this is the limitation of it. But what the pros of it, it stores data very like in a very less complex way, so that we can query. Also you can see the query builder. So this Firestore database supports a query. What kind of query we can have, like where, order by, limit, and not in etc. Let's go to the doc first, and I will tell you what we can do with the complex and compound queries. So what we have, yeah. So the operators, we have less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, not equal to. Array contains any in and not in. So these are like very complex thing, which is not supported by the real-time database system, but it is supported by the Cloud Firestore. So these are like some basic codes for reading and performing the query. So what we have to, we cannot have this as like operator. We can use equal to like this, or we can have not equal to, or less than, greater than, like that. So we do, basically we don't use operator, but we use the keyword as a parameter. So if you see here, we have a parameter. So we can go through that. So how to get started? First of all, we have to add the Flutter Firebase uh, Firestore database plugin inside that. So to add that plugin, what we can do, we can just write Flutter pub add. If you know the name, you can just add here. So I know that it's Cloud Firestore. Also, you can get it from pub.dev, the Cloud Firestore. We can have, we can just, yeah. So here, from here, you copy and paste it. So that's it. So it has been added. Let's say Flutter pub get. Okay. So we will go through the documentation, how it says and how it will just work. So add or manage data. First of all, let's add the data. What it says, we have to make an instance of it. So like Firebase auth, we made an instance. For that also we have to make an instance. So say Firestore, Firestore. Let's add a dependency here. Import cloud. Okay. Firestore. Cloud Firestore dot dart. Firestore instance, or we can say DB. Let's make it private, and Firestore dot instance. Yeah, now it's done. And we have to write the logic of having the data where to write the logic, like checking the data exists or not with the same UID. So we will be feeding the UID by login. So let's say if we have future of boot, okay, and say check user exist, and we have a string UID. So async, okay. Now what we can have, we can just return false, and we have a db dot collection. So collection can be users because we will be making the users collection to store the user data. So for that, let's add a file. Let's add a file in utils, and we say app constants, app constant, or we can have I think we have added, no, we don't. So app constants. So let's add some code here. Class app constants, and say static string user collection, say users. Okay, and just to make it more cleaner, we say Firestore collection here, and we can just collection end. Okay, so let's use this as reference so we cannot mess up with spelling. App constants dot user collection dot doc, let's say UID dot get. So what it will give, it will give a query snapshot, or you can say a document snapshot of map comma dynamic. So let's say document snapshot equal to, okay, this is the one way, like we can have this data. Else what we can, another way is putting the where clause, where we can have internal data, like getting the field value. So it's kind of lengthy, like searching the query. Instead we can just check the document exists or not. So let's say we have a snapshot, and let's say snapshot dot exist. So we will just return this. So it will just check whether user exists or not. So and on the authentication, like verification, sign in with credential, okay, context dot home, and what we can have here also. So let's okay, so we can have this function calling here. Let's say string next page. We say fine for now. If await check user exist, okay, and here it will give a credential. So user shell, and we can have user, or we can just put this user here. So user equal to user credential dot use to get the user. Okay, so first of all, let's check if user not equal to null. So we just go to the login because uh, the thing is not done. The means what we can have, the login is not successful yet. So we just go to the login to make the login again. Else this part will happen. So say user.uid. Okay. So if this happens, the if it's true, then it will just next page will be updated as home. Otherwise, it will be sign up. So this thing is done. Let's move to the next part, which is sign up, where it is has been this OTP has been called to just go to the sign up or wherever it will uh, be going. So let's call this method and we'll copy this and we will pasting it here. And auth controller dot check user exist, and for the user where we can have auth. Okay, so if the user exists, it will just update the home page. Otherwise, the next page will be sign up. So we'll go to the next page where it is. Doesn't matter. So it will fix that. So let's restart the app and check. And the thing is, we have added a plugin, and it will throw a exception, a missing plugin exception, platform plugin exception. So we have to reinstall the app to overcome that. For the till like we have done the check-in, now we have to add that uh, the email and what we can say mobile etc as a data. So let's say future of void uh, insert user. So it will have a string UID. Okay, so it says build config should be 19. So let's add that first. Build.gradle. It's a minimum SDK version. So we can have 19 over here. Now we can just, okay, we can run again. Okay, so till it's running, let's write the code of inserting the data. So there's nothing like special in like inserting. It will be very similar in way to write. First of all, we will take the required parameter. So UID name string formatting, user collection dot. Okay, so there's some tricky point over here. So if we add a doc, it will just need a document ID, any document ID in a format of a string. Suppose that you don't want to add any kind of like your ID, and let the uh, that the thing that Firebase generate itself. Okay, so it says multi-text support. Okay, we are let's not enabling all this stuff. Multi-text enabled. True. So yeah. So where we are like, So when we add a document, so we have to give that a UID, not UID, but a doc ID, which will be unique to different ID. Otherwise, it will overwrite. So if you don't want to have your document ID, instead you want to generate it by by the cloud files itself. So what we can do, we just remove this and put the add here, and we'll take the map of string and dynamic. So it will just generate the data of your choice, like not of your choice, but it will generate a random unique key of in that collection. So you don't worry about the keys. But for the users table, we have to make a UID, because and the UID will be in that project. The UID will be unique. So let the we use the doc to have that UID, and we'll be having not add but set, because the set method will set the data to a particular document. So let's say name, and we have name, and email, email, mobile, mobile, UID, UID. So there's no need to save the UID, but for like searching purpose we can use it and say await. So we will insert the data when the user taps on the sign up button. So for the permission denied error, what we can do, we can set the rules of Cloud Firestore here. So we can just read or write if the timestamps like that. So let's just restart the app and check whether it's working or not. Okay, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's verifying, and yeah, and let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as an OTP. Yeah, so it's working. Like we don't have a user, so it will go to this part. So let's add the sign up code by calling this function. So let's go to the sign up page, and we have like this. And what we can do, we can have a phone number. Okay, use this. Let's check whether the phone number. Okay, so we do not have any kind of ID to check that the code of the country. So let's okay. So for that, for India, like we have three places +91, or we can say after plus there will be two. So we can just grab that part. Okay. So for setting, what we have done, we have this thing. Okay. we can make a country from here and set it to the country of selected part. So okay, so we will do it later. First of all, let's write the code of inserting the data. So before that, we need to wrap with say form, and we can have global key, final global key as form state, and say form key equal to global key, and we can have here this. Okay, and validator is given. Okay, so we have a name, or we can just collide with this. st okay, so we can say this field is required, and remove this part. Similarly, for the email, we can also have this, as well as if st dot is email, and we can have not. We can have not here, check return invalid email, else return null. For the country, same goes here, and okay, so for now, okay, so if the user is authenticated through the mobile, we will not show the country. Yeah, that will be fine. So if we say, okay, say visibility. Visibility is only when the auth controller dot to user dot uh, phone number not equal to null. Okay, equal to not, yeah. So it's fixed now because we don't need like this one the country code, because it's already given. Similarly goes with this also, and we can have this. Okay, so the spacing is also fixed. Okay, so country is fixed, and we can have this as okay, and sign up button. Okay, sign up button, for that we can use if not form key dot current state dot validate. If it's not validated, we will return. So return. Else we will call the function. For that we need to make an await, async, and we have to make await of auth controller dot insert user. Okay, so for now, like if we are using this button, we have to make it circular indicator. For that thing, we can just copy the stuffs from here. Okay, we can copy this stuff from here. So let's make it its code sending rx pool is user creating. Okay, and when the user is being created, let's say it's user creating to true and is user creating to false. Okay, and we can say try catch to catch an exception. So we say debug print and say e dot to string. Okay, so user will like stop creating when this function gets executed. Okay, so let's add it. And we will wrap with obx. Okay, so what we can do, say replacement, and we can have child of center child circular progress indicator. Yeah, so it's now good. Okay, so let's call the function. Okay, so we have the function. Let's create a variable. String name controller dot text, string email controller dot text. Okay, if so let's say string country code. So if the user is authenticated through phone number, we'll get that phone number. So check whether the user is authenticated via phone number. So we will okay, so if the user is authenticated from phone number, we will not add, else we will add the country code. Okay, so grab that code from sign up login. We can have this. Above that, and we can go to here and say code equal to country dot country code, I guess. Country dot phone code, sorry. So it's phone code, and here we will append that. So let's add it as plus code, as plus is not integrated with that. So if it's like authenticated, not authenticated from phone, it will just add the code with the mobile. So string mobile equal to, and we have country code, and we have phone controller dot text. Okay, so let's add it. Mobile tends to mobile, and email tends to email, name tends to name. Yeah, so it's all done. Okay, after this, like if a user is created, so it will just either return true and true as pool, else return false. So if it's returning true, then we will if result and context dot mounted, then we will go to context dot go named as home. For now we are only using go named. We'll just replace all the stuff with the back pushing. Okay, so let's restart the app and check whether it works or not. Okay, so let's have the country, let's have phone number. I have added as testing. And okay, so the emulator is terminated. I don't know why, but it got terminated. I don't know why, but it got terminated. I have to restart the emulator. Okay, so it's started. Back to its position. Let's run the project. So it started. Hopefully it will not crash again. We check this. Yeah, working fine. Let me grab that emulator here. Okay. Okay, so we have a OTP input. Yes. And let's add it. So we say Dexter, or can have Dexter at the rate gmail.com. And we will hit sign up. Okay, so we are redirect towards the home screen. Let's check the data if it's inserted or not. Okay, we have a users collection. We have, okay. So UID didn't came up. Why? Because the UID didn't came up. Why? Because we haven't added the UID. So just go to the auth controller and we have a UID from here, but we don't need to take it from here. what we can have auth controller auth.user, we can say user dot uid. Okay, let's restart the app and it will jump to user dot. So that user is having like auto-generated ID because we have provided null over here. So let's check the authentication tab. Okay, so we have another UID. So it will just when I restart this. Okay, so it will go to the login because the registration was not successful. Also, what we can do, we can check whether the user is logged in as well as signed up. So uh, what we can do on the splash screen, on the splash screen, here we can check whether it's logged in or not. So what we can do, we can write the code over here. Let's check whether the mean. Okay, auth controller is initialized at the starting of it. So what we can have auth controller auth controller dot instance. Okay, let's go to the auth controller and if the user exists, definitely. So if controller dot user not equal to, then if control we say await controller dot check user exist, what we can say, we can just remove the dependency of getting the UID. So saying UID else take from the user, from the current user. We can just get rid of it. Then context.mounted, we can go to the home screen directly. Okay, so these are the logic that we can use it on this splash screen. So if the user is logged in and if we check that user doesn't exist or exist, it will just use the logic to jump to the next page depending on the authentication. So and okay, so we say Dexter 2. Okay, so we have the home screen and let's check the Firestore database. Okay, so we have this user. now we are filled with all the details. Okay, so now restart the app to check whether the logic works fine or not. Okay, so it's working fine, and we are done with the sign up and the Firestore database. So for the next video, like for the upcoming video, I will be creating the home screen, which will be very important as we are using the drawer and all the stuffs. And yeah, so for that, I need some time to generate the UI of it. And for till now, we have read about the Cloud Firestore, Firebase authentication, and the Getx controllers, etc. So what you have to do, you can just go through all the video. If you have any questions or confusion, you can just ping me on my Instagram, or you can just comment down the video. So stay tuned and subscribe for more. Bye bye. Have a great day. Thank you.